Alright, folks, so this is pretty wild here. I had just made a video on Destiny like a week ago, critiquing him because he went after AOC for a really ridiculous reason. AOC is by no means, above criticism. I have multiple videos critiquing her on my channel. She's totally, she, in certain scenarios, has definitely been worthy of criticism, but what he was going after and the way he was doing it was incredibly disingenuous. And you can go check out that video if you want more info on that. But Destiny's been having a lot of weird takes lately where he's been going after the left, he's been going after lefty ideas. So recently he's been on a pro-life tear. And now he went on an anti-worker tirade. Super, super weird. It's very cringy, so I do want to say, obviously, I'm a big fan of Destiny. But these kinds of things are utterly redonkulous, point blank. So let's get into this because he just absolutely went on a tear. So Ro kind of sent out a tweet. He said, the next time an executive at McDonald's or Walmart says that they can't afford to pay their workers a living wage, ask them why their CEOs are paid over 1,000 times as much as the median employee. So obviously CEO to median employee income disparity is obviously a very big problem, and it's ballooning. Like, it's literally over 1,000 times the median employee's income. That's an incredibly large amount of a ratio for it to be, and there's no way it should be that high of a ratio. So somehow, Destiny here, he says, why can't liberals talk about economics without it being so cringe? McDonald's CEO made $21.8 million last year. McDonald's has 1.7 million employees. If the CEO gave up his entire salary and evenly distributed to each of his employees, they'd have enough for a few Big Macs. So he's defending CEO pay here by basically saying that, hey, if the CEO pay were severed completely and divided amongst all of McDonald's employees, it would give him like a couple bucks more a year. So this gets to a bigger problem here, where this kind of an issue is not that, taking the CEO's pay and then dividing it amongst all the workers would change everything and make everything better. It gets into the issue of ownership of the business is what it ends up getting into, as well as CEOs being paid $21.8 million a year and having over 1,000 times of a pay in ratio-wise is actually wrong. There's no way he should be making that much more than the median employee. That's absolutely should not be the case. So he somehow calls that tweet from Ro kind of cringe. Have no idea how that is possible. And so he responds to someone who says, and you somehow think that the pay distribution is one big one and everyone else on minimum wage, or what? You can't be serious, centricity. And he responds saying, no, but the idea that we should compare the CEOs of the largest companies in the world to their lowest level employees and go, look, that's the problem, is absurd. That's a ridiculously simplistic / unreasonable way to look at things and gets us nowhere in solving problems. So Ro actually doesn't say like this is the lowest paid. He says the median employee, which is much different than just the lowest paid employee, of course. So he's not even doing that. So he's not even representing that correctly. But what's wrong with that? What is wrong with comparing CEO pay to the lowest paid worker? What is wrong with that? I don't understand. Could you please explain to me what is wrong with comparing those two things? It's certainly an issue. Bro, 1,000 times more than the median income, than the median employee's income. How do you not see a problem there? You have to be like a serious bootlicker to not see a problem with that statement. It's truly, truly remarkable. And so he goes on this insanely long-winded rant here on Twitter. And just, it just goes really crazy. So this person says, Steven, I think you're missing a general argument that the management doesn't deserve to reap most of the benefits of laborers, not just CEO. The hierarchy in question oversees obedience of the workers while focusing on profit and only profit, dismissing the well-being of the worker. And he says, oh, really? Tell me what management deserves to reap then. I'd love to hear your answer. So we'll actually get into some of those numbers in a second, actually. I'll give you some numbers on what management and CEOs deserve to reap in ratio to its workers. And we'll look at a good example of what is a good idea for for the United States and for businesses to be opening up. So this is where it goes like really pretty crazy, like straight up crazy. So someone says your view of workers is so fucked. You don't understand that they already are smart enough to make the world work, and it's because they do every fucking thing. That or you are deliberately not wanting to see it. And he says, Sorry, dog, but workers are fucking stupid. This worship slash idealization of the average worker is so uninformed. It can only come from white college kids who spend too much time on YouTube. So this is really remarkable because there seems to be a lot of projection. It seems to be quite a bit of projection. I mean, we know Destiny's background. I know he's half Cuban, but I think his other half is white, right? So it seems to be some projection. It seems very odd, and it's a worship of such idealization, not of necessarily the average worker, but more like the collective of all average workers. And what's wrong with the average worker? The average worker is your normal person. So, what's wrong with the average worker? And it's like, what do you mean? How's it uninformed? A, and B, like, what is this randomness? Come from white college kids who spent too much time on YouTube? What are you talking about, dude? If we're gonna stereotype stuff, I mean, this sounds like more like a frat dude who's like a privileged kid who had a privileged upbringing who doesn't care about any of that kind of stuff. Sounds like a Jake Paul type, if you will. So I don't know. It is really fucking weird, man. And he says workers are stupid. It's pretty remarkable. So, someone that says management deserves little or no bonus for enforcing the hierarchy. What management ought to do is cooperate with workers and represent the workers' interest, hence the democratization of workplace being a necessity. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. And he says, do any lefties actually work real jobs? Again, more projection. What is up with this projection? Dude, you're a Twitch streamer, and that's absolutely a real job, 100%, right? Your labor, still labor, you know what I mean? Twitch streamer, YouTube, whatever, that's a real job. The irony of this is, how many times do you want to bet that? How many times do you think conservatives have levied this charge against Destiny? Like, oh, bro, you don't even work a real job. You're a Twitch streamer. So, and again, the weirdness of this, like, it's like, what are you doing, bro? What is going on? It doesn't make any sense. And then he says, what do they think supervisors slash managers do? Literally sitting on a throne with the whip all day, enforcing the hierarchy. Management has its own set of responsibilities to keep things running in most businesses. So what? So what? So what? And then this is where it really gets hilarious. So someone says, care to tell us why they are that way? You say this regularly, but have no desire to explore the cause of this. Instead, you accept it as an eternal intrinsic fact, which, by the way, is a super reactionary idea that conservatives bask in. And he says, why are workers stupid? It's inflammatory. But the average worker doesn't know anything about how to manage or supervise. Most people only learn their very narrow trade. It's why most people are contractors instead of business owners, and it's why people specialize into roles. And then he goes on down here to say, an average McDonald's worker might be able to cook slash clean, but scheduling people for shifts, interviewing, dealing with precarious customer service issues, ordering inventory management, and disciplining workers is a whole other thing, and that's just what a supervisor deals with. So here's the funny thing about this, right? None of those tasks are things that workers who are fry cooks or cleans can't learn, and B, that's exactly what they do. What do you think? They just magically snap into existence managers who weren't previously lower in the chain? And doesn't this entirely debunk the entire capitalist ideology in the first place, or the talking points, if you will, of conservatives always respond with the calls for a higher wage for minimum wage workers as we'll work up the chain, man, get that promotion. Destiny straight up saying like, no, there's not even you can't even get a promotion. If you're cooking fried clean at McDonald's and you're trying to get a managerial position to make more money and have more power, guess what, bro? You're just a cook and clean. Specialize in your area, bro. Specialize in your area, bro. You want to conduct interviews with potential employees? You want to schedule shifts? Psh, what do you think you are, Albert Einstein? E equals MC squared? Quantum loop theory, quantum loop gravity, fucking string theory. Oh, we got little quarks, or is it strings? What do you think this is, bro? This is not the grand unified theory. Like, this is basic stuff, and it's debunked by the fact that this is how people get managers at your local McDonald's. This is how they get there. They don't just magically snap them into existence like a freaking I don't even know what. I mean, it's like I can't even think of a good example of something just snapping into existence like that. But it's like, dude, what do you think happens? You think that they just magically pop? No, they train those people who are at the lower end of the chain. Those are all extremely doable things. Extremely doable things. And that's proven by the fact that they do it. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. And then someone says, my guy, training someone to do all these management things aren't rocket science, and it doesn't make someone smart. You could teach someone to do everything you're talking about in like 2 weeks, a month tops. Obviously, that's true. And then he just goes on some dumb like rant saying, my feeling when lefties think average workers can learn everything management does. This guy never worked with an engineer in his life. Where did an engineer come in here? He says, okay, I'm done antagonizing you on Twitter. Now you guys are giving me brain rot. Destiny, I love you, man. You're a good dude, but you're making my brain rot, dude. You just made the claim that a cook or a cleaner at McDonald's can't work up the chain to become a manager, to scheduling shifts and to interviewing potential employees. Do you have any idea how much my brain is rotting right now? It literally wants to turn into mush because of how stupid the thing you just said was. It's incredible how stupid that is. And why are you bringing up, what does it have to do with engineers? You talked about, your example you gave was a McDonald's manager. What the hell does that have to do with an engineer? That's just super random. Doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? And then he says, well, it says, and someone says, why? What's an engineer? What are you talking about? And he says, it means that even STEM employees suck at basic stuff that supervisors/managers learn. I can't imagine what it would be like to train an average retail fast food employee management skills. Dude, that is what businesses do. Where do you think they get their managers? You think they just snap people into existence who are just managers? Like, dude, that's how they get them. They train them. They work up the hierarchy. And again, you're like working against the whole capitalist ideology, because the whole talking point is like, work up the ranks, man. We don't want to give you no wage raises, because work up the ranks, bro. Work up the ranks. Get that raise. You know what I'm saying? Become a manager. Instead of a cashier, become a manager. Well, according to Destiny, you can't do that. If that's the truth, then fuck capitalism, dude. Get that out of here, bro. How the hell are we going to have that if you can't even do that? And then another straw man, and someone responds saying, so managers are just a rare breed of human uniquely capable of supervising and organizing the labor of others. It's not a skill that you can learn, which is a totally correct point. And he said, I want to know what utopia you worked at where you felt all of your coworkers were competent enough to move into management. So this is just like a straw man 101. Who said all of your coworkers? We're talking about average employees here who absolutely have the capacity and are the ones who end up actually moving up the ranks into the managerial positions. This is unbelievably stupid. And a straw man. No one said all of your coworkers. But yeah, certainly many of the coworkers, half the coworkers, if you will, certainly are able to become managers and scheduling shifts and interviewing potential employees. All those things. They're super doable things. Again, it's not E equals MC squared. We're not talking the grand unified theory here. We're not talking, string theory or, all of this stuff. We're not talking about any of that stuff, okay, bud? It seems pretty redonkulous. And so that's where his rage fest, like, look at how much of a rage fest he went on. Like, he harbors a lot of hate for lefties. And I want to say this, by the way. I'm not a hard lefty, as he said that I was a hard lefty. Bro, I'm not a hard lefty. I'm a suck damn. I'm a social democrat. And I used to get into a lot of fights with commies. I don't know, especially in like old Hassan's chat. But I don't know why I don't really end up in any of those anymore for some reason. But I don't like communists. I'm not a fan of communism. I'm a social democrat, bro. That's what I am. I'm a social democrat, bro. But look at how long he went on of a rant here, dude. So it starts right here, and look at all of these tweets. Dude, the level of hate that this man harbors for lefties is unbelievable. It is insane how much hatred this man holds. And so he basically asks a number. He says somewhere here, I forgot I forgot exactly where it is, but he basically says, where is it? Hold on. It's right here. It's somewhere here. He asks, oh, here it is. Tell me what management quote deserves to read, then I'd love to hear your answer. So if you don't know about the Mondragon Corporation, it's actually a top 10 business over in Spain. And it's a cooperative. It's a cooperative where the workers vote on their decisions. They vote on their, managerial, who holds their managerial positions. And it's also a worker-owned company. That's what it is. So when we look at here, in wage regulation, here's what it says. It says, at Mondragon, there are agreed upon wage ratios between executive work and field or factory work, which earns a minimum wage. These ratios range from 30 to 1 to 9 to 1 in different cooperatives and average 5 to 1. That is, the general manager of an average Mondragon cooperative earns no more than 5 times as much as the theoretical minimum wage paid in the cooperative. For most workers, this ratio is smaller because there are few Mondragon worker owners that earn minimum wages because most jobs are somewhat specialized and are classified at higher wage levels. The wage ratio of a cooperative is decided periodically by its worker owners through a democratic vote. And then it says, compared to similar jobs at local industries, Mondragon managers' wages are considerably lower, as some companies pay their best paid managers hundreds of times more than the lowest paid employee of the company, and equivalent for middle management, technical and professional levels. Lower wage levels are on average 13% higher than similar jobs at local businesses. And it says Spain's progressive tax rate further reduces any disparity in pay. Remember, this is a top 10 business in Spain, boys. So if you want a number, between a ratio of 3 to 1 to 9 to 1 in comparison to the pay of minimum wage workers in the business. Those are the numbers that the manager should be receiving. Now, a point he's making that actually I guess is in a way that he's not intending legit is where he's saying that it's not, the way to go about it is not to just single out the CEO's pay or the rest of the executive staff. The CFOs and the COOs and all the other, super high positions that make like millions upon millions of dollars. Is that it's really about ownership is what it comes down to. It comes down to shareholders, because what ends up happening at these businesses is that, Walmart, for example, they've got like 1.7 billion employees or something like that, or somewhere around there. I forgot the exact number. But they have, when it comes to Walmart, I think their profit is somewhere, I forgot what exactly the number was. It was something like 6 billion or 12 billion, somewhere around there. And so the profits need to be going to the workers. And so the only way to really do that is to have worker ownership of the businesses. So the question is, where are those profits going? And it's obviously not going to the workers. And we also see things like with the tax cuts that happened under Donald Trump, which I know Destiny did oppose. They just buy back stocks. That's what they do. And so they get these tax cuts, which means that they have more money that they aren't going to pay to the government in taxes. And then you know what they do? They don't go like, yo, workers, we're finna give you some cash, which Walmart, I was reading, was actually giving some money, which, I don't know whether that had to do with the tax cut or not, but regardless, I think that proves the point that they have money to invest in their workers while still maintaining a profit, is that, they just buy back stocks. They're like, we're not going to invest the money in the workers. We're not going to pay them wages. We're actually going to lay off workers, and we're just going to instead take this money that we just, are not going to be giving to the government in taxes, and instead of raising the wages of the workers, what we're going to do instead is we're going to buy back stocks. It's a lunacy, it's a lunatic idea, to be completely frank with you. But this whole thing is the businesses need to be worker owned. Remember, Mondragon is a top 10 business in Spain, a top 10 corporation in Spain. It has to be worker owned, and it needs to be worker managed, because then you can have democratically elected ratios between managerial pay and worker pay and minimum wage pay, as well as being able to vote on everything that happens in the business, as well as when you don't have to worry about outside shareholders. And you care about just the workers, obviously, and you don't have money grubbers like the Walton family. The Walton family is the richest family. I don't know if it's in all of history, but in America, they're the most rich. They're the richest family. They combined have more wealth than Jeff Bezos does, and so the profits that are gained, that's $6 billion. That's not going to the workers' homes. It's not going to the workers. But a lot more needs to go to the workers. So it's not the CEO pay that would cover that up. But the CEO pay needs to go down, definitely. There should not be that big of a ratio. It should not be 1,000 to 1 pay ratio. That is literally insanity. But, it's all about where the fuck are the profits going? Where are them profits going? So that, Walmart brings in billions of dollars. Some of it going to shareholders. Which sometimes itself, the people who own it himself. But, the Walton family is pretty loaded, and, their net worth is going up and stuff like that. So The business needs to be worker owned is the point. And so worker owned co-ops are the way forward. Now, I think Bernie had introduced a bill that would entice or in some way encourage worker owned companies. And it's just so great. I don't know how you could possibly be against it. Destiny really seems to be a bootlicker here, pretty big time. And I'm still a big fan of Destiny. You know, I don't hate Destiny. I just find these takes to be unbelievably insane. Truly, truly remarkable. I honestly can't believe how redonkulous these kinds of takes are. Now, I do want to show you guys this clip from Hassan Piker because, you know, they seem to be friends, although I think they're kind of drifting apart a bit. They don't really seem to communicate very much. But he was asked about this because, as you guys know, Hassan is the big-time Marxist who's now spending his streams reacting to FaZe videos and RiceGum videos and Keemstar videos. So he's kind of abandoned the whole political shtick altogether. But let's see what his response is on this.
Any thought on the Destiny tweets on the workers being stupid? Yes, that's a stupid tweet. That's all I got. Anyway.
Interesting. That's all he's got. All he's got is the Destiny's takes are stupid. So the guy who's a self-described Marxist, which I have evidence of on my channel, is just calling it stupid and then calling it quits. And I guess, you know, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's the don't bite the hand that feeds you or what it is, but I guess you can't criticize it. But they've gotten into disagreements all the time, which is why I don't understand why Hassan doesn't care. I think Hassan's starting to drift away from politics, and I think he's more starting to go into the sphere of like watching FaZe videos and FaZe Banks and watching RiceGum videos and Keemstar videos. So he's kind of drifting away from politics and becoming the actual Keemstar of the left, if he even considers himself part of the left at this point. But anyways, so Destiny goes on this ridiculous rage, rampage, whatever you want to call it, tirade, against workers, man. I can't believe it. It is truly remarkable. I wonder if Destiny's going to change his mind at all. I don't know. He really seems to harbor a hatred for the left, for workers, for democracy, a lot of different things. But let me know your thoughts about this down below. Make sure to follow me on Twitch, by the way. The link will be in the description box below because I do stream there daily.